Hi guys, my name is Ky Luu and I'm an Adelaide-based wedding photographer. Around 8 to 9 years ago, I'd done my first wedding photography. My first wedding was actually a Greek wedding, and from that I booked 3 weddings from that one Greek family. And then that's how my name got spread into the Greek community, and then it slowly made itself into Italian. Well, I'm 5-time wedding photographer in SA and 1-time wedding photographer national for the ARPP. Well, I think back then my photo was very different because I developed this what I call a different type of style. I call it action bridal party photos. And what that involves is not just the normal type of wedding photos that you see every day where a photographer will direct the bridal party to, to just stand in front of a wall or sit in a cafe and take a nice, beautiful photo. But what I've done differently is I try to bring it to the next level. I put some craziness into it. So that either fighting or getting drunk or having a food fight, or try to replicate, very famous paintings such as, the Last Supper type of. So bring a bit more of action into the photo. And probably because of that, back then there wasn't many people that have seen this type of style, and that's how I, was able to win quite a lot of award from that. So tomorrow, I'm going to take you guys into an actual real day wedding. It's a big Greek wedding. I'm going to show you guys, how I interact with my couple, how I interact with the bridal party, how I get them drunk, slightly drunk, so that they can do all these crazy action bridal party photo for me. And most of all, I'm going to show you how I see light, how I use natural light versus, flash photography, how I can use flash photography to control my light, and and that can allow me to shoot in any kind of lighting condition, any kind of location, and that will all be shown tomorrow. So stay tuned.
We arrived at the groom's house first thing in the morning, and straight away I wanted to find a nice spot to hang the groom's suit up for a photo with the groom getting ready in front of it. However, the passageway where we did this was a little dark, so I asked my assistant to hold a Godox V1 with a soft filter attached to it to add some light to the scene, and triggered it using the Godox X2T to create a moody yet nicely lit image. Next, I wanted to start capturing the groom and the groomsmen getting dressed together. Again, even though the room is already very well lit, I wanted to still use the sun flash to make my image more punchy, bright and clean, with as little noise as possible. Again, I pull out my Godox V1, but this time I just simply attach it to my camera and bounce the light off the ceiling to create a large yet even light source across the room. And I also use the same technique to capture the boys having a great time drinking their scotch. Next, it was time to take the groom outside for some portrait with the cars. However, it was extremely sunny that day, as you can see from the video, and to perfectly expose the super bright background so that I could also capture the beautiful blue sky with fluffy white clouds, I knew I needed something with a much greater power. And this is when the Godox AD200 is super handy for actual wedding day shoots. It is small yet powerful, and I can quickly ask my assistant to grab it out and simply point it directly at the groom's face to balance out the overexposed sky in the background. When I arrived at the bride's house, I took the time to look around and found a perfect spot to begin my shoot. And the first thing I decided to do was to turn off all the lights in the room, as I wanted to have a full control of lighting before I started shooting. The first thing I did was ask the bride and bridesmaids to hold up their dresses for a photo before asking them to get changed. Again, I was going for a bright and clean look in the photo, hence why I simply used the Godox V1 and left it on top of my camera and bounced the light off the ceiling to create a nice soft light across the room. For the photo of the bride by herself, I used the same technique. It was now time for the bride to put on her perfume. For this shoot, I wanted to show the perfume actually coming out of the bottle, and to do this I had to add light to the spray. To achieve this, I simply asked my assistant to hide behind the bride to backlight the bottle of perfume with the Godox V1 triggered by the X2T. Next, we went downstairs for some Greek traditions before sending the bride off to the ceremony. Due to the tight environment we were in, and given the room was actually quite dark, I again quickly attached the V1 on top of my camera to capture all the necessary precious moments. The Greek church located in Mile End is so beautiful, and throughout the whole ceremony I used the V1 to help me light up and capture all the beautiful memories for this couple. Again, I kept it very simple, and all I did here was have the V1 on top of my camera throughout the entire ceremony. Next, we continued the celebration and visited a fancy cool cafe in town. The first photo I decided to do was my action bridal party shot. In this shot, I asked my assistant to backlight the group with an AD200. The reason I wanted to backlight this photo is so that all the mist from the ceiling could be a feature in the photo to give it that extra wow factor. After this, it was time for some photos with the girls, followed by photos with the boys. Again, I used the AD200 here to backlit the group, but this time adding a purple coloured gel to the flash for a totally different feel and effect. Next, I noticed a waterfall in the cafe, and I knew I had to do something cool with this. I quickly asked one of my assistants to hold a Godox AD200 and the other to hold a V1. One with the blue coloured gel and another with a purple gel pointing directly at the waterfall to create this next image. Following, I noticed this amazing looking gold curtain with very interesting shapes. I knew straight away I would get some cool effects if I put the Godox V1 behind the couple and the curtain for this next image. When we were back at the reception venue, even though the guests had already arrived, I still wanted to quickly take a photo of Sarah next to her amazing cake. Due to the time constraints, I executed this next shot very quickly just by simply leaving the V1 on top of my camera and pointing it straight up to the ceiling.
Would you please put your hands together? Let's welcome the bride and the groom. Let's hear it for the team. Let's hear it for the two, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
When the couple entered the room, there were fireworks, and to make sure the couple's face was not going to be too dark, I again used the V1 pointing it directly to the ceiling to capture this great moment. The same technique was also used to capture their first dance, with the fireworks this time falling behind the couple. Thank you everyone for watching my behind the scenes video, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed photographing this epic wedding.